Very good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us for the second edition of the NASSCOM Future Work Conference. It's great to be back at Chennai for this event. Last year when we were at this event, I think the two pressing questions in everybody's mind was, what's going to happen with the Great Resignation? And the second was, can we drive the shift from remote work to hybrid work? I think a lot has changed since then. The global macro environment has meant that hiring has become much more measured and just in time. The return to office is moving well. So clearly, I think the priorities continue to shift and evolve. And earlier this year, we actually went back and asked a lot of HR leaders, we did HR roundtables across the country, and asked them saying, what would be your top priorities? We heard a lot of very different answers, but I'm going to just take 5 of those and share them with you, which you will hear and discussed in greater detail during the agenda today. I think the first was really saying, how do you make hybrid work more meaningful and effective for employees? There is an inertia that's set in, right? There is concern about, why should I come to office when I can do the same work from home? So what can you do to make the office really interesting and for employees to come back? Not that people don't want to come back, but there is an inertia in a certain set of people. And I think that's where HR leaders are putting a lot of effort to make the office different from what it was in the pre-pandemic world, right? Whether it's collaborations, whether it's meeting ups, whether it's community programs, whether it's experiential learning. You see innovation hackathons. You see a lot more effort to say, how do I more effectively redefine the why of the office, right? So I think that's one thing. It's still evolving, and during the day you're going to hear a lot more discussions around that. I think the second was what's changing in employee engagement. Today we have a very intergenerational workforce, right? Our data says about 70% are millennials, 20% are Gen Z. So you have almost 3 to 4 generations of employees at the workplace. How do I personalize my employee engagement for all these different segments of the workforce that I have? Clearly, if I'm a Gen Z employee, people want the regular stuff on learning, tech enablement, but I also want to see a greater sense of purpose, discussions around mental wellness or initiatives around sustainability at the workplace. How do I drive my middle managers to become more effective? Because many of them are not used to dealing with a hybrid work environment. What are the talent platforms I can create which provide internal mobility? And most importantly, how do I do effective communication that my employees can really relate to? So that was the second priority that we heard. I think the third was really about rebuilding culture with shared values and purpose. We've seen the Great Resignation, and I think almost for most organizations we talk to, 50-60% of their employees have joined them over the last 12-18 months, right? So, and many of them have never interacted with the workplace. It's only about a laptop and maybe their manager. So how do you rebuild that sense of culture, purpose within the employees, whether return to office is helping in many ways, but how can you do it on an ongoing basis where they start understanding what does the organization stand for, how can I relate better to them, what is the sense of shared purpose that we will all have around that. The fourth trend we really saw was around skilling, right? And I think that's where there's a continuous focus on saying it's no more about one transition from say tech skills to digital skills. There's a process of continuous skilling. We've all heard about AI, and AI has been around for some time, but the whole acceleration with the advent of generative AI is really changing jobs. And you're going to hear some very interesting perspectives both in my panel and during the day about how technologies like AI will reshape how your workplace changes or how your work changes. And clearly, you already see the industry focusing on upskilling all its employees around these new tools and technologies. And they're saying, I'll segment my workforce to say people who will build AI, people who will shape AI, people who will use AI. But I'll do this all very responsibly. So I think the importance of responsible technology is becoming very center stage as these new technologies are becoming even more important in the workplace. I think the last and most important is how will I, as HR organizations, use technology more effectively within my own operations, right? So today we have a lot of disparate applications that work but have a lot of different concerns. So can I make sure that my applications are more integrated? How will I use AI or generative AI for whether it's sentiment tracking, whether it's for power apps for managers to understand my preferences, whether it's for personalized learning. There are a lot of different use cases on how HR can more effectively use technology to enhance the employee experience, employee retention, employee onboarding, and I think there are a lot of good practices that we are already starting to see in the organization. I just want to end by saying that technology was always becoming very foundational for everybody. In the last 12, 18 months, you've also seen artificial intelligence as becoming very foundational for every company. So every company is saying, I want to be an AI company. And what does this mean for talent? It really means that technology talent, domain talent will continue to be very critical for all businesses as we move forward, not just the technology industry. And hence, for all of us at NASSCOM and all our membership, it's about saying, how do we continue to upskill our talent to build these technologies of tomorrow and lead the world in some ways, in just not just being a technology hub, but whether it's a technology, data, AI hub, or whatever else that lies ahead. So I'll end there and just say that today's event has a lot of very interesting sessions. So please use this opportunity to engage, debate, discuss, and interact, because I think the importance of social capital continues to be very important, and events like these will provide you a platform to do that. So thank you all for joining in.
For more content on tech and leadership, subscribe to NASSCOM YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.